Happy October 1st, everyone. It is a wonderful day. And just to let you know, for specifically the October videos, this little guy is going to be tuning in with us. He lights up. Just hang on. See? He does also multiple different colors. So I'm hoping if you guys can leave in the comments a good name for him for the season, he's going to be tuning into all my October vids. Okay, you can turn off now. So the big thing I want to do is to build a haunted house in The Sims 4, knowing we have paranormal stuff and spooky stuff and vampires and werewolves and many more. So I wanted to build a house that would be perfect for the season, and most likely I was going to play with it on the last weekend. Now, I'm not live at my normal room. I'm actually at home. Me and my brother try to visit our family as much as we can on the weekends. So I'm filming all the stuff at home. This one I want to get done specifically, but a video will be coming later in the week about something else. But I did this entirely to make a haunted house speed build. I'd used the vampires world to find a lot. So yeah, we are going to tune right into that. I'll be watching this on a fast pace while I'll try to explain what I've been doing, okay? All right, let's go ahead. So in the first part of this house, I really wanted to get a good design. So the idea I got from this actually was when I was in my math class today. This is Friday. I'm filming the day before, but I was in my math class and I just doodled. I started doodling because I was waiting, and I made a haunted house because I was doing a lot of spooky stuff, and I actually got this idea from the house. So I started designing, seeing if I can go very similar to that picture. I know they have that little circular thing that goes up into the air on a haunted house, so I really wanted to incorporate that in, and I think it came out really well. Kind of like a crow's nest when you think about it. So I really wanted this. I called this house the Natural Family Manor because I wanted to be the natural family, a family that was claimed to be natural but really wasn't, and they were actually full of something else. So I wanted to make sure to get the front and back porch. I want to make this 2 stories. The third story is completely empty. It's just a placeholder thing that I wanted to look nice. So looking into this, I started making basically the exterior and then I moved on inside. For me, I do 1 by 1 room, but the big problem with me is this floor plan. I was never good with floor plans, so I'm happy this one actually turned out pretty well, and I was very happy to see that turned out that way, and usually that doesn't happen with me. Anyway, so I changed the day, obviously, because the lighting was really bad, because see, vampires is a very dark area. The whole reason for the vampires world is that the daylight lasts a short amount of time, and it makes so vampires can come out a lot more. So I really wanted to get that old brick and black wood vibe because it just reminds me of a lot of classic horror movie houses we have seen, and this really came into detail. I immediately placed a staircase in because I want to know where I want that hallway exactly. Good news is that came out very well. So I had a really hard time with columns, so that's why I skipped a little bit in the video, is because I had a really hard time figuring out the columns for the house until I found these one in vampires that I really liked. The other problem was I started placing them, and the big problem was it's a factor that even with BB move objects on, there were many problems I had encountered with them not working on the second floor, so I just decided to put them where I could and see if they looked nice. By the way, I actually am playing this on the PS4. As you know, I am a console player for right now. So yeah, I wanted to get the back porch. I used a lot of vampire stuff for the exterior because it really had that spooky vibe, and paranormal stuff in the base game didn't really have much for me to work with, so... Oh, we're getting inside the house. Oh, already, sorry. A little gassy, I had some water early. So I started picking doors that got that antique feel, very old, mostly wood. I did not want to have anything that looked modern. So I decided to put a glass door in the one rooms. You'll see why later. I will explain why. So the windows was also a very hard part because the big part was figuring out just what exactly I should use for windows. Windows are not the easiest thing in the world figuring out, especially with Sims 4 having everything match. I started working with black windows because I thought, but I found out when I put a white window in with black shutters, I really liked that because I'm like, that contrast looks really nice. So I repainted all the windows and tried to get the white solid frame. And if they had any shutters, I wanted them to be black. So I thought that turned out really well, and I really did enjoy it. It was very nice. So I started repainting the windows as fast as I could so I can get moving on to making more and more stuff. So that continued. I finished off placing the windows because I always place the doors and windows first. I don't know why. It's just me. So yeah, the kitchen was the hardest part figuring out where the windows went because it was so skinny and large, and I really didn't know what to do. So now we're moving on to the hallway. The hallway I wanted to give an antique feel with the paneling and the floor. I want to get a nice plant in there with some pictures, and I found these really good sconces that go on the walls that look really old, and I loved it because it fit really well in with this house. But yeah, I was searching all the rugs and I just couldn't find one that fit. Good news is there was a small one I decided to just go forth with using, and I thought it really looked nice in the end. So I did put a nightstand in the middle, but I went, it doesn't feel right. So I decided to replace it with a plant. I think it was from Jungle Adventure, which really had that antique pot, which what I needed for this house. So now we moved on to this next room, which I was like, every haunted house has a library. So I want to make a library, and with that crow's nest area, I decided to make a sitting area with an antique lamp, a bunch of plants, make it look like it's been used, especially with the mismatched chairs. Paranormal stuff really has that vibe where you can really make stuff mismatch and it still looks really good. So yeah, I found rugs, I put some plants in and a lot of lights, and I decided to put some books on the table. I'd be like, oh, no one put those away. So it took a long time to find curtains because I just couldn't find ones that fit elegantly and weren't too big. So I used ones from Realm of Magic that actually looked really nice. Then these bookshelves from Discovery University were really good, so I decided to continue and add those in. Then I wanted, I have to have a desk in here. So the thing I did with the desk is that some older family that used to live here decided to install a computer. It's not a modern day computer, of course. It's like one of those 80s big box computers that my mom used to use at MSU. So yeah, I got the candle lights. And after I placed that plant, I started thinking about it. And I remember in vintage glamour stuff, there was this really nice globe that had like a juice in it. And as you know, we all call it juice in Sims. But I decided to use that because I'm like, that would work. So we moved on to the dining room. Here, again, old vibe. So I want to put a lot of plants and make it look like somewhere where people just have a seat. So I thought a lot, candlelit would be really nice for this room. So I decided to make it candlelit with both the candelabra on the table and also the overhead candles. Kind of like that flickering vibe, like, oh, spooky. So yeah, I also found a dish holder because I thought that would really look nice because the antique china that like got passed down in the family. It was very cool. So yeah, I started flooring a lot because I thought it would work. So we're moving on to the kitchen. I wanted to give it an older vibe, but still feel a touch of modern. So I decided to do double stove, which actually worked out quite well. I lined everything with the countertops, and I put an island in, which I really liked. And the problem was the square one didn't work, so I decided to put in a regular island. I put in some basic appliances. The overhead cabinets is what really sold it for me. And then I decided to put some appliances in just to make it sure the counters didn't look completely empty. There wasn't really much for me to work with. Like I said, I have a hard time staying focused when building because I get a little bored. So I did use a light from Cottage Living overhead. It was very antique and it really fit in with the vibe I was going for. So after that, I decided to make a half bath that was felt like it wasn't really a bathroom, which I put wood floor and wood walls that were stained from city living and put in the vampires plumbing. Now this next room I thought, what other things do haunted houses have? A conservatory or a place where plants grow, like a greenhouse. So I put some basic baskets in there. I put some of those wall hanging plant things from Eco Lifestyle, and I put some gardening tools on the floor. Now this last room I didn't know what to do with, so I decided, why not make it a hidden art room? Make it very small, not much detail, and there was this old cabinet where the person would keep all their art supplies. It was very cool. I really liked the light I used from it that you would earn for the painter's crew. So I decided to move upstairs, made the hallway the same, didn't really put too much thought into it. And then the next idea I had from that is that I wanted to continue going with this, so I decided to move on to the parents' master bedroom. I used a lot of stuff from Cats and Dogs because it had that older vibe but wasn't torn apart or ruined, and I put some old weathered furniture in there and it really looked nice. Those antique lamps from Vampires. Wait, was that Vampires? I think it was. I can't tell. But it really put the thing together, and I decided to use those curtains that were blue and put the plant in and the mirror. So this next room was I just painted, like I said, the top floor, nothing in there. It's just simply a placeholder room. it was really hard finding a wallpaper that would work. So next room, I'm like, one more thing all haunted houses had was a seance room. Thanks to paranormal stuff, we had that. So I used the Antiques telescope from Werewolves, and I used the seance table, which I also thought was a really good thing to put in there. I tried putting it in the crow's nest, it just didn't work, so I decided to put it in the middle, and I wrote it with curtains that were closed because I wanted to put the lighting out and make it look like, ooh, spooky, like spirits come forth to us. So yeah, I used those pictures of Gidgeri from paranormal stuff. Now this next room, I just wanted to make a basic kids room. It felt pretty old, like the kid was a little bit of a scholar. Maybe, I don't know why, it just made me think of Addams Family for some reason when I was building this. And I thought personally looked pretty good. I actually thought I was pretty happy with what I came out with that. So I used the curtains from paranormal stuff. Now this next room has a little bit of story. One of the kids was a werewolf, and as you know in Sims 4, werewolves have rampaging problems. So I wanted to make it feel like they just shoved this kid into this like in the wall room, and you can see all the fist bumps and the scratches on the wall, and they gave him old antique furniture, not even a real light, just a light bulb, because they were afraid he was gonna break everything and destroy it. And he grew up being bitter with the world, so I decided to do that. Now, I decided to do this last room with a lot of vampires furniture. I also put like a stain on the floor, like a puddle, to make it look like, oh, nobody cleaned up after him, or there's leaky plumbing. So the outside, I didn't really do much because I felt like there wasn't really not much to be needed. So I just painted the ground and added some nice shrubbery for trees and other plants. Like I just really thought I wanted to just fill up some space. Yeah, so I decided to do that. And I decided to just put some dirt under there to make it look like they were actually planted into the ground. And I also thought that turned out very well, and I really liked that. So I decided to place the mailbox and the garbage can. It turned out pretty well in the end. So yeah, I do not have a gallery account on the PS4, so I simply just saved it for myself. But thank you guys for tuning in this. I was really happy with how this haunted house turned out, and you'll be seeing another video this week. I'll be pumping 2 out this week because I just got some creative ideas. And so yeah, hope you guys have a great October 1st and get real spooky for the season, because I hope it turns out very well. So have a great day.